Hello! This is my first battle report for Ninth Age. There's going to be 5 games of me playing at Art of War 3 in Bristol. I've taken my Dwarven Holds with me. I've been promising for about a year or so to start doing Ninth Age battle reports, as Lucky Sixes on Proxy Table Gaming will know. We finally got round to it, finally done some art assets for it. It's not an awful lot of work. I've just been putting it off in amongst every other thing that I've been doing. So now we'll see if I can remember enough of this game, or any of these games, to make a decent battle report out of. I played all of these over a month ago now. So, yes, well over a month ago. So we'll see how much I remember. And they'll be going up anyway, I should think, because I played against Lucky Sixes, spoilers, in Game 3. So, on with the army lists. I was playing first game against Vampire Covenant in the draw. Here's my list. So I took a King on a War Throne as my general. He's got a shield, a Rune of Destruction, so that's multiple wounds D3, 2 Runes of Might, so +1 strength and AP each. Rune of the Forge to give him a 2+ Aegis against flaming attacks. I took that because I had the points. And then a Rune of Shielding to add to his Shield Wall Aegis. Then my Thane BSB, my Battle Standard Bearer, he's got a Holdstone, he's got a shield, Rune of Iron for +1 armor, and 2 Runes of Lightning. So Runes of Lightning are D3 hits, strength 4, AP 1, as long as he hits the unit that he's attacking. A Holdstone he can drop in any combat, and that'll last until he's out of combat, and that basically means that the unit that he's in doesn't have any flanks, so it can't be disrupted. It doesn't lose its flank bonus for any reason. It can produce supporting attacks to every side. It's fantastic. It's a get out of jail free card basically for dwarves. It's amazing. Next up, I've got a Runic Smith. He's very simple. He's just got 3 battle runes, so 3 spells and a shield. An Anvil of Power to help him out with because I've found that in the past Runic Smiths by themselves, not enough magic, no good. And then finally a Dragon Seeker with Monster Seeker, so he's doing multiple wounds 2 against large and gigantic. He's got a Rune of Fury for +1 attack. He's got a Rune of Quickening for +3 agility, and a Rune of Smashing, so he's strength 10, AP 10 against anything with resilience 5. This guy's disgusting, absolutely horrible. I took to a previous tournament him, but I didn't take a Seeker unit with him, so it was just basically a 400 point pin cushion, basically. You shoot at him with arrows, because he's only resilience 5, 3 wounds, Aegis 6, but with the unit, pretty good. I'm much more impressed with him this tournament than last time. Then onto my core, I've got 30 clan warriors with full command, spears, shields, and a runic stand of swiftness to give them Vanguard. Crucially, I gave them the standard over just a Vanguard upgrade, because you can give them Vanguard normally, but that wouldn't give Vanguard to the characters that I would join them to. So I had to go for the runic standard of swiftness, but thankfully on 30 warriors it's exactly the same points. Then I've got 3 lots of 10 clan warriors with musicians, shields, and throwing weapons, just as chaff and running around and causing problems for other chaff. Thankfully, they're pretty tough with their parry and shield wall, and then they've got heavy armor as well, so I found them to be pretty good as well. Then 2 attack copters, again, shooting threats, chaff, something fast moving, which is nice for dwarves. A block of 6 hold guardians with a musician. 8 Seekers with Brothers of Vengeance, giving them Skirmisher and Hard Target, and Vanguard. That's for my Seeker to hide in. Then I've got a Cannon and a Rune-crafted Dwarf Ballista, giving him Scout, as long as I deploy in my own deployment zone, and Accurate. Very nice. In my opponent's list, he's taken a Vampire count. His general obviously has the Dead Arise because he has to. He's an independent, and he's taken Arcane Knowledge, so that's an independent army. I can't remember what Arcane Knowledge does. I think it's extra magic for the Nosferatu. Then he's got, so he's a Wizard Adept of Occultism. He's got light armor with the Essence of Mithril, so he's got a 2-up save, and then paired weapons with a Touch of Greatness, and a Hypnotic Pendant, which I think gives the unit Distracting, or Parry, one of the two, or maybe it's both. Maybe gives him Distracting and the unit Parry. That sounds right. He's got a Necromancer who's a Wizard Adept of Evocation with a magical heirloom, so he's got the attributes, the normal spell, the raising spell for vampires, whatever that's called, I don't remember. Another necromancer who's a wizard adept of alchemy with light armor and an obsidian rock for magic resistance. He's got a block of 50 zombies with a standard bearer and a musician, then a small block of 20 with a musician, 2 lots of 8 direwolves, 2 lots of 2 bat swarms, 28 barrow guard with halberds, full command with the black standard of +1 to hit. 6 ghasts with a champion, a court of the damned, and 2 lots of 5 vampire knights, with a musician and champion. So a pretty hideous list, really. I took a look at this and I was not confident playing against this thing. I was not not looking forward to it. I figured that at most I could get myself a small loss out of this. Try and conserve points rather than taking them. Right, so let's see if I can remember how much of this game I can actually remember. So I took first turn. I don't remember what happened with deployment. I think we put a couple of pieces down each, and then I dropped everything on this flank, basically. I've got a unit of 10 warriors out on the left there, then another in the centre, followed by the Seekers, another unit of 10, then my Dwarf King on War Throne, and all my characters in that big block of spears, with the anvil behind them, the artillery on the hill, and my whole Guardians on the right. And then opposite me, I had the Bat Swarms, 1 unit of Dire Wolves, 1 unit of Vampire Knights, and then basically everything else was on that flank. I think he had his Necromancers in the Zombies, and his Vampire Count in with the Barrow Guard, which is where the Court of the Damned is, and another unit of Vampire Knights on that flank. So I figured if I can kill what's on this flank... so we were playing Pitched Battle and Breakthrough, I believe. So I figured if I can get all my scoring units on this flank through and try and sweep around and kill enough of his scoring units, I might be able to take the secondary objective and then just win on having killed more of his small stuff than him killing more of my small stuff. That was my plan, at least. So this is after my first turn of movement at least, or magic rather, because there's a spell there on my Seekers. I moved my steam copters on the right there, they're tiny dragons. I don't particularly like helicopters, so I've taken small D&D miniatures to use as my steam copters, because I've got flaming attacks and everything, so it's perfect. So they move out onto the flank to try and get around the Vampire Knights. I Vanguarded up my Seekers, but I didn't bother with either my Hold Guardians or my Spear Block, just because I wasn't sure about pushing up too far too fast. In retrospect, I think maybe I might have been better off doing that, just really pushing into this flank and getting over with. Yes, so there's another picture of moving around, seeing what the artillery can see. And then on this flank I pushed up a little bit, but again, very wary of just going too far and giving him easy charges on my chaff units. So this is at the end of his first turn. He's moved up his direwolves. He managed to move them up and round my my clan warriors there, as you can see the arc on the right unit, which was a bit daft of me. They don't need to be facing the building so much. They could have turned so they could keep an eye on that more, which is a shame. But I mean, they weren't going to hold up this flank anyway. They could have just thrown weapons at the direwolves instead. There's another shot of that, looking down at the Vampire Knights charging my poor dwarves. Another shot of them, and then on this flank, so he's moved these direwolves tried to charge because they had a long charge against my cannon. I think they needed something like a 10, but on Swift Stride that's not impossible. So he gave it a go, and they're only like 110 points or whatever. So they moved out and sat in front of my Seekers. And he's got a bat swarm there hiding up against the building. And the Ghasts are moving around to the other side with the rest of his army. His Vampire Knights have moved a little bit out of the forest there, and the Bat Swarm's coming up to cover their flank a little bit. That blue gem next to the Vampire Knights is one of my grudges. I get 3 in this army, 2 for my War Throne and 1 for my King. So I think 1's on this unit of Vampire Knights, 1's on the Ghasts, and maybe 1 on the Barrow Guard. There's a blue gem on the Barrow Guard there. So this is his magic. I don't remember what he'll have shot at me, but he's got his evocation, occultism vampire count in that unit, and then his alchemy necromancer not too far behind, so it'll have been some shooting, will have done some damage against this unit here. One of my steam copters, so this is now my turn 2. My steam copter moved out in front of his bat swarms just to try and get them not looking at my stuff to charge them, charging into the flank if anything. One of my steam copters charged into the side of his vampire knights. I figured they're only strength 4, I'm resilience 5, and I've got 4 up armor, so they're not going to do a whole lot against me. And just from combat res, I'm gonna wipe out one. So I think I won combat by 2 and just killed a vampire knight straight out, not having hit any with my attacks at all. The seekers, I didn't get a picture, but they charged the dire wolves, and of course the I don't think we even rolled for it. I think the vampire, the seeker character would have just eaten that unit alive anyway. So they turned to face the bat swarms and the ghasts. I turned around and shot at these dire wolves and took out a couple of them, just whittling down the unit a little bit so they're slightly easier to manage if they do charge my war machines. My unit of dwarves over there, you can see, has reformed to be 2 wide. I mean, if I'm 5 wide, then it means he gets all of his attacks, and vampire knights have 2 attacks each, plus strength 4 mounts, I think. So I figured 2 wide means he only gets a maximum of 3 of them attacking me, and with parry and shield wall, I might be able to hold his unit up high a little bit longer with that. So they are his turn 2 now. He's charging that unit. Then I think that's just a big view on this side. Well, they're saying that I think he's shot that. No, I think what happened. Oh, is it? I don't remember. The steam copter, the little dragon on the right, has been shot by something. I think it might have taken. I think he charged it with something, and then I had to flee through the vampire knights and take a dangerous terrain and take a wound through that. That must have been it. The bat swarms tried to charge me, and I just decided that I didn't want to get stuck down like that, because they're cheaper than me, so I'd rather be useful still. So they fled. I think they redirected into the seekers, and then the unit in the back there has moved around to just chaff up my big spear block and get in the way of the Hold Guardians a little bit, because I don't think they're wide enough, narrow enough to get into the vampire knights now. On this side, he does charge. He makes that charge. I think it was an auto charge. He's moved around with his direwolves, trying to get at my anvil and everything down that side. He's moved forward with everything else. He's not bothering charging my clan warriors just yet. I mean, they're not a scary unit for him. There's another picture of that. So I think he failed his charge into my seekers. So now on my turn, my spears have charged into his bat swarm on the right. My seekers charged into the bat swarms on the left, and the Hold Guardians charged into the vampire knights. The clan warriors in the middle are just kind of stuck. Now that we're past this time, but the clan warriors only lost 1 guy, it would look like, but I mean, they had a charge and a wound, and I didn't have any ranks or anything, so I failed my leadership 7, my discipline 7, and fled. But I stayed on the table, thankfully. They are fleeing. I didn't kill anything in return, of course. I'm only strength 3. There's his ghasts in the back. I shot. So that's taken a wound from my. There's a red die behind one of them. That's taken a wound off from my artillery shooting at them. I don't think I had much luck with my shooting, just because they've got fortitude and everything as well. And then they're at long range, so it's like 5s to hit them or something. Maybe 4s with the ballista, but it's only strength 6, so it's wounding them on 3s. So put another wound on the dogs there and put Rune of Revocation on them to try and stop him from raising them. Yes, because that warrior unit's turned around to shoot at them. In the back there in the top left, my clan warriors have rallied to face the vampire knights again. And then the Hold Guardians completely obliterated the vampire knights, of course, on the charge. Some strength 5, so just too many attacks for him to deal with. Also, additionally, my king, I think, took personal charge of killing the bat swarms and just wipe them out, of course, as well, because they're just chaff. Nothing new on this side. The Seekers blew through the bat swarms, of course. I think the bat swarm actually did a wound to my character, and I think, yeah, it didn't do anything else to the rest of the unit, but did kill, did do a wound to the Dragon Seeker, which was a pain. But of course, wiped them out and then followed up, and I don't think they overrun. This might have been him charging into me. I can't remember. Yes, it must be. So he charged in here, charged into me, and he's charged the back of my clan warriors here. Might have been worth fleeing, maybe, but he might have been close enough just to catch me anyway. So I figured I'd make him fight me in combat anyway. He's charged into my clan warriors again on this flank. There's a big overview of the field here on his turn 3, I think it must be. That's his dead pile in the top left. So the Vampire Knights don't don't take any nonsense this time and just wipe out the, or at least they do far enough damage for me to break a lot more easily than last time, and they just flee off the table because they're nice and close this time. The clan warriors here, I think, actually hold up somewhat, and only lose a few of them. The Seekers get quite obliterated here. So the first round of combat, he challenged me with his champion, I believe, and the Dragon Seeker just, munched him because he's strength 10, EP 10, doing 2 wounds against the guy with like 7 or 8 attacks. So he obliterated the champion. The unit wiped out the back rank. And then the rest of the ghasts did 6 wounds to that unit. Oh no! So these 2 clan warriors, this is after combat. They've fled now. And then the start of my turn. So this is after my movement and so on, because the warriors there have rallied. My big block of spears has turned round because I've realised that he's got far too many scoring units on that side. For me to be able to score. So my Hold Guardians are starting to make a very slow walk back towards the centre. My spear block have turned round. My Steam Copters have come back as well to try and keep an eye on this flank and chaff things up if they need to. I think at this point I was also shooting at his Court of the Damned, because it's larger than the rest of the unit, so I can pick it out with my artillery. So there's magic. Yes, there we go. So I've shot out, because it's only got, I don't think it's got any Aegis save. It might just have a 4+ armor. I might be wrong with that, but either way, I had enough artillery to shoot it out and kill that. So that makes that unit far less scary than it is. And this is after combat on my turn 4. Then I suppose, yes, must be turn 4 now. So the Dragon Seeker, now that he's not in a duel, just completely sweeps out the rest of the unit and kills them. His Barrow Guard charge into the last remaining 2 clan warriors. So this is now his turn 4. Wipe them out and then reform, and then he's just measuring how far exactly he wants to reform away from my Death Star, basically. His Vampire Knights on that flank have moved round to try and deal with the rest of my Seekers. So I was moving around that block. I was thinking maybe I might get into, well, I don't know, but if I get into the flank of the zombies, I don't think he's got a champion, so I'd just challenge him out, he'd refuse, and then I'd just start munching through zombies. So I don't think there was much point to that, so maybe I should have just run away and hidden at this point. I think I was up on points by here. So he's moved his Vampire Knights around to charge me, and then we did all kinds of magic to try and buff this unit for the next couple of rounds. So there they are. I've got Rune of Resistance on there for a -1 to wound. I'm pretty sure he had some spells up as well. I moved my dragons here, my Steam Copters, down. I'm not sure why, though. That looks as maybe I was trying to tempt him into a charge, very possibly. Yes, because I suppose if he charges me, then he brings that top flank a lot closer to my unit, and if I get them in the flank, then I'm just going to obliterate them, just through combat res, and because I've got a pair of banners in there, I've got 3 ranks, all the damage that I would do, because I've got 3 characters plus my spears, be pretty nasty. So when's this? Maybe this is after his turn. I think he moved forward a little bit. We were very much at this point, because we were talking about it. We were very unsure of charging each other's units. It would definitely be a gamble. Like we'd probably just destroy each other, and that would swing the points hugely. Or if we go into a duel between his vampire count and my dwarf king, there's a good chance that one of us will die, and that will give the other player like 1,000 points or something, which would have been a huge swing points-wise at the end of the game. So we were basically just in a big standoff of I don't want to charge him and he doesn't want to charge me. There are my copters there. I think they're sitting there trying to shoot down this unit enough for me to charge them if I get an opportunity to do so. And then my Dragon Seeker in the middle is making rather slow work of them Vampire Knights, but he is chopping through them slowly because they're not big enough to do multiple wounds or for his strength to be buffed. So he's only strength 4, I think, but he's still got loads of attacks. Yeah, there they are. So he's got Ancestral Aid for reroll wounds and Hand of Glory, which gives him an Aegis save, which really saved his butt here because I was busy munching through them. Otherwise, he was making the Aegis saves to keep them alive. And yes, there we go. So he's just managed to kill him, and I think this that was a couple of rounds after being in combat with him and 2 Seekers. He's finally killed him. And then this is his final turn, so this must have been his turn 6 now. I really need to keep track of the turns better, I think, in future. So his vampire count comes out, because I don't have another turn now. He comes out, and I've moved my... that's my Rune Seeker, my Runic Smith, sorry, moved out to try and get closer to the Seeker combat to try and buff my Dragon Seeker. So now on his final turn, he's moved his vampire count out and given himself the 18-inch range evocation breath weapon to try and kill him. And I think he leaves him on 1 wound. So I was very, very lucky with that because I would have lost another couple of 100 points. So this is the final picture. So he's definitely got the secondary objective because he's got his 2 units of zombies and his Barrow Guard in my deployment zone. And once I realised that he had full 3 and I didn't have enough scoring units, I just turned around and walked back again. Saying that, maybe I should have just kept going, because I don't think he would have chased me. That was a bit daft. If I'd kept my Hold Guardians, my Spears, and I've got another unit of Clan Warriors up there. If I'd kept those 3 units up there, I'd have stopped him from scoring, and brought my Seekers back to kill his Vampire Knights. Still, hindsight's 20/20. So here's the final score. So I was up on battle points. The kills that I did, I killed his 2 units of Vampire Knights, all of his chaff and his ghasts, and he got what did he get? He got 2. He got my Dragon Seeker, my Seekers, and 2 units of Clan Warriors, leaving it as a 12-8 on points, and then with the secondary objective, it pushed it round to a 9-11 loss. So considering going into this game, because he's a very, very good player, I was very much expecting to come out with maybe 3 points at most if I was really, really lucky. So I think I deployed pretty well compared to what I normally do. I find deployment to be the more difficult bit, especially with dwarves, because I've got such slow movement. I can't really fix it if I screw up in the first place with deployment. But I was very, very pleased with this result instead. Going into the next game, I was pretty chuffed with this start. I thought that was pretty good. Heck of a lot better than the last tournament I went to. So if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments below and show it to a friend. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in game 2.